Good morning, you guys. Turn my key out of the ignition. It is so quiet this morning. The roads are, I'm not out there, but because we're so quiet in the village, I don't expect to hear very much noise on the roads either. I washed the car this morning, got water on my glasses, sorry. We struck Iran last night. We did 5 waves of strikes, and apparently we struck about 100 locations. And they have, sadly, shut down the airport, moved the airplanes out of Ben Gurion. They have canceled all non-essential activities, no gatherings, only essential jobs, reporting to work for essential jobs. Oh, there's a whole arm list of things that we cannot do. And when they struck at 3:30 in the morning, they sounded an alarm nationwide. Maybe that was to give everybody the heads up, cause them to look at their phone to see the new curfews and restrictions. I don't know, but we woke up to a new world, as did I. I'm afraid that's going to mean no cryotherapy for a while, and sadly, my second visit was truly showing some regression of handicaps that I had from the stroke. So it's a bit, I'm upset. I'm not afraid of the war, you guys. You know what I know? The nation of Israel is not holy. They were once his called people for his covenant purposes. But what Elohim preserves now is his witness on the land. You can't put a shovel or a spade in the dirt without uncovering a biblical witness of a city, of an item that's mentioned, of something. The whole land is scarred and marred with the witness of his words from Genesis and will be to Revelation. So I'm not concerned about the war. I am disappointed about cryo, and even though the war is only supposed to be 2 weeks long, that's not normally how things run, and this will probably run longer. So the report on my therapy is I was having some really good results. I was back to being able to feel my right hand pretty good, which meant bumping glass with my right hand would not result in a breakage anymore. I can feel my right foot pretty good. I don't have a big spot that feels like I'm stepping on something. I can feel the whole bottom surface of my foot. So I was really beginning to turn back the disabilities and slide back into a more normal functioning body on that right side. I have toothpaste on my lip right there. Well, this is real life. So that's my report. Yes, cryo is working. I have an appointment for Yom Rishon Sunday morning. I've reached out to them and sent them a text. They may not be there today. They may not answer the text, but I'm trying to find out if this is going to be considered essential therapy, because a cryo machine does not fall under a medical device. It falls under a spa or a beauty treatment. That's how they market it. And I just have a feeling, if you'll pray with me, I just have a feeling that that might be shut to me again for a while. Though if it's not, I will ride that bus down to Naharia. Sorry, not Naharia, Herzliya. And that's basically my update in my personal life. Shabbat Shalom. I hope your Shabbat is peaceful and full of love and full of companionship with our living God. And I'll see you probably after Shabbat, unless something big happens. Wow, guys, I get into here, but I will just say it is a ghost town. This is Friday morning, and we should be hopping with traffic as everybody grabs their supplies for Shabbat and tries to get home around noon. Men gather for coffee, to chew the cud. There's just a lot that goes on Friday morning that's completely absent this morning. I'm going to stop here and get gas, because in the event of damage from war in our area, we may need to relocate, so gas is an essential service here. From here, I'm going to go see how the bread store fares, if the bread store will be an essential service for Friday going into Shabbat. Now, we don't buy challah. If you've watched my YouTube videos, you know that that's a tradition from the 15th century, and we don't adhere to man-made traditions, only the scripture. So I'm not going for challah, but on the weekends for Shabbat, I do like to get sweet treats, little bitty bite things, size things for my husband for his Shabbat, and so that I'm not always reaching for something to make him. So go to the bread store next and see if they're an essential service. Do you see the yellow gate up there? So we've already closed down the kibbutzim, and that's where a lot of our local businesses are. I'm sitting outside of Nika's right there, where we usually get our bread for Shabbat. And not only is that closed, but already we have the gates over the kibbutzim, the residential areas, these outlying communities, as a precautionary measure. So I've got to go back through the gate, and I'm going to try to go to the store now. So no, apparently the bread store is not seen as essential. Okay, so this is interesting. Let me turn you around. Both stores are open. The businesses alongside of them are not. Right over there in the corner, you see people coming and going. The pharmacy is open. None of those restaurants are. And if you look over here, you might be able to see the picture of that cow up on top. The meat market is there, and they're open. But this is a penance of the people that are normally in the mall. So I'm going to run into the grocery store and grab a few things, and then I'm going to try to go make a cash pool, because in times of war, if they take our infrastructure down, cash is king. So I'm almost done, then I'll head back home. Okay, one quick story about my day out here. I did get the cash pool. I did get the groceries. Should hold us for a while. Actually hadn't been to the store since I've been back from the U.S. because my husband had the house so full of non-food items that we've been eating our way through boxes and cans and bags and bottles, and you know, the type of stored food that doesn't have a lot of nutrition. So this was the first time I've been to the store since I got back. But going into the store there, I only had a 10 shekel coin. If you know Aldi's in the U.S., we've got to put in a coin to get a basket. It makes people return their baskets just like it does in the U.S. But I met this guy in the parking lot because all the baskets were gone, and I held out 10 shekels, and I said that I would give him my 10 shekels if he would just give me the basket, because the basket is worth 5 shekels. So he was like, no, I've got a plastic coin. At first I didn't understand what he said, and I said, well, the change doesn't matter. If it's 5 shekels, I'll give you 10 shekels. I'm in a hurry. He says, no, you don't understand. I've got a plastic coin. So we're walking over to the corral, and he ended up giving me change. I actually was going to have change at that point, because he's going to take his plastic coin out of the machine. He walked me over to the corral, and he says, I said, you know, I was just in a hurry. He says, the whole world's in a hurry. He says, Iran's in a hurry this morning. He says, we're all in a hurry. So that's the war story today from Israel. But he was a very, very sweet man. He dug around in his pocket, and he found a couple of shekels, because at that point the basket only accepts a 5 shekel coin, and gave me my 5 shekels. And I was able to go get my groceries. And then I met a lady on the way out, same thing. She wanted my basket, and she only had a 20 shekel bill and had no hodef, had no change. And so I just handed her the basket, and I said, Shabbat Shalom. So the scurry, the hurry, and you know, the feeling of getting home really quick abounds everywhere. And that's where I'm going. I'm going home. I've got groceries to unload and a few things to do before we settle into Shabbat.